Hi, David Barrons here. I'd like to show you my cutting gauge. This is a cute little tool which sits nicely in the palm of your hand. It's made of Macassar ebony and the head slides up and down the stock. We've got a tool steel V-shaped cutting blade on the end, and that's got the distinct advantage of you being able to see exactly where you're cutting. It's great for the likes of cutting baselines for dovetails, leaving a lovely, clear, fine line to drop your chisel into. But I'd like to show you another technique with which this is particularly useful for, and that's inletting hinges. Here are a pair of hinges, and it's important with a pair to make sure that they're inset in exactly the same position and to exactly the same depth, otherwise things won't close properly. So my method for doing that is to take each of the hinges and with a calipers to actually measure here the width. They're pretty even, but I like then just to take the hinges and keep them square, and just move them up and down until both of them have been squared off perfectly. And the same with this one. And then we can just check on there, and we're looking at 13.15 mil, and on this one 13.16 mil. So we've got a pair of even hinges to start with. So what I like to do in the hinge position is to, with a pencil, mark the position of each hinge. And then with a square, extend these lines upwards. Then what we can do is to take the gauge, and what we're aiming to do is to mark to the center of the pin in here. So if we just loosen that slightly, line that up with the center of the pin like that, tighten that up, and then what that enables us to do here is to, with the cutter in view, particularly with a pointed cutter like this, it enables us to start it by the pencil line and just make the marks, and the same for the other one. And so what we've done there is we've made our cutting gauge line exactly the same distance from the edge here, because we know the hinges are the same size. We've done the same here, and we know then that they're both going to be in exact alignment, and the gauge has been very useful for that. So we then take our hinges, put the knife into the knife line here, line it up to the end, and then on one side there we can mark, and the other side mark, and then do the same for this side. Knife into the knife line, hinge up to it, position it, and then mark the knife lines. And I like to use this little laminate trimmer, and I've set that to the depth of the finest part of the hinge here. So if you set that to that, and then that gives us an even depth when we route out the bulk of the waste. So with the hinge recesses routed and chiselled back to the line, we have a pair of perfectly fitted hinges. Here's an example in a finished box, and you can see here that the pair of hinges leave the door dead flush with the side. The reveal is tiny and even all the way through, and then when we come to close the lid on the box, it closes down evenly all the way around. This was done first time with no adjustments, and all thanks to my lovely little cutting gauge.